Welcome back to another episode of a Paul Meets podcast. Today is a very special guest all the way from Wisconsin. We're going to get into a very deep conversation today. You might notice a little change in the questions and the topics. We're going to expose the decisions, the pressure, the responsibility that business owners are dealing with on a daily basis. It's a new format for the podcast. Not so much about marketing, not so much about KPIs, not so much about hiring or firing, more about the pressure and the responsibility that comes with running a business. And our brand new first guest of 2026 is Eric Wallace. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, and start with, I've been reliably informed, as most people know, I'm not a huge NFL fan, but I'm starting to learn. Tell me about the Packers. I've heard that they're not bad. Is
Green
that right?
Bay Packers, the only NFL.
Do we need to go Packers? No, we don't need to go Packers from the audience. No.
You're not a fan, you grade cheese.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, is that what we do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me.
They're
Come on.
Cheesehead.
Enlighten me.
We like cheese in Wisconsin, so
Okay.
the fans literally wear blocks of cheeses on their head.
I think my first question is, where is Wisconsin? Right? Like,
It's between
help me.
Minnesota and Michigan. Illinois is underneath Chicago. You've heard of Chicago?
Yeah, I've been to Chicago.
3 hours
yeah.
from Chicago.
Yeah.
My town is 3 hours from Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Packers. I am looking for a home. I'm looking for an NFL home. Could it be the Packers?
Well, you could say from a soccer standpoint, we're the only team in the NFL that the fans literally own the team.
Okay.
They don't have an owner. So fans buy stock, and then there's a board, and the chair or whatever has to agree upon what all the board says.
Is that
and
really?
There's no Jerry Jones of the Cowboys or anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're very community based, if you will.
Give me some players, either now or legacy, that I might know.
Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Yeah. Is he on Netflix? Isn't there there's a documentary?
Yes,
on him?
Enigma.
Yeah, that's right.
Enigma. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is aptly named for him.
Tell me about him.
He kind of an underdog story. He was supposed to be like the first overall pick, and then he got drafted way in the back of the first round, second round, something like that. So he kind of had a chip on his shoulder for the rest of his career. And when he got there, everybody was in love with Brett Favre.
Okay.
So he kind of took it. He took it from the fans for a while because he was like this young hotshot up and comer. Favre stayed for 3 more years. He kind of petered out. And then when Rodgers came in there, everybody's like, he's not going to be Favre. He's not going to be Favre. 3 years later, they won the Super Bowl.
Wow. So I'll tell you what I've been watching as I recover from my hip surgery. Johnny Football.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody remember Johnny Football? What's his name?
Johnny Manziel. Yeah.
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have, if I was in America at that time, he would have been my hero. He's right up my street. A guy who likes to have a lot of fun by the looks of it.
Yep.
Didn't take himself too seriously. But his career teetered out, didn't it? It didn't.
Not a great NFL career.
Didn't end well.
Yeah.
He went to was it the Browns? Cleveland?
Yeah, he went to a lot of places.
Well, and that's half the problem is he went to the Browns. So
Yeah. Didn't they have a period where they didn't win for years?
still haven't
Still
won
to
for
this day,
years.
really. Yeah. So note to Paul: don't follow the Cleveland
Do not
Browns.
follow
No.
the Browns, no.
Okay, so the Packers could be on my list. Yeah.
Very,
All right.
very close to a soccer community based. The fans think
Okay.
they're like, one of the players.
The
type
only
thing.
problem is, I can see that I might like the Packers, but I can't see myself flying up to Wisconsin in the middle of February.
You got to come to. Have you been to Lambeau? You got to come to
watch
Lambeau.
a game.
You got to come to Lambeau Field.
I mean,
And any sports fan, you don't have to like football. You got to go to Lambeau Field.
having spent 7 years in Orlando, just the other side of Georgia now is as far as I will leave.
You've been to Chicago.
Yeah, that was before my blood thinned, and I've got used to the weather down here. That's the problem. Right. Anyway, enough of NFL talk. Tell us about Eric. What was your origin story? What was the moment that you decided that you wanted to be a physical therapist?
Oh boy. So I started out in architecture, of all things, in college, and I got about 2 years into it and realized that I was working way too hard, producing mediocre results, and didn't like it.
Okay.
So I get 2 years into college and I switch over to physical therapy because it's something that I did in high school. I had a back injury playing football. And I vividly remember leaving those sessions. The guy, he was on his feet all day. We could talk about whatever we wanted to. He was kind of, talking about sports or whatever. He had a good energy about him, always smiling. And by my perception, he worked with a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
So my light bulb went off when it was time to switch away from architecture that I was gonna look into this PT thing. So down that rabbit hole I went. Ended up getting into PT school. Went to Marquette University, which is in Milwaukee.
Yep.
Heard of Milwaukee?
Yes, I've heard of
The
Milwaukee.
Bucks.
Yep.
Giannis. Yep.
Is he going to move?
He's coming to Orlando. He's coming to Orlando.
I've heard. There's rumors he's coming to Orlando. I've heard.
You're gonna have to give up Banchero though.
Yeah, well, they can have him. He's useless. He's useless. I'd swap him in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to Marquette University, and then I was in Milwaukee for about 4 or 5 years. Wife and I had twin boys, and I decided to start a business, and she decided to switch careers. So we moved up to Central Wisconsin. When I moved, I initially got into the private practice world with a chiropractor, and that's kind of how I went from more of the traditional insurance, healthcare, hospital system. And that's where I got my first taste of private practice. And I realized that there had to be a better way to solve problems for people. I'm not saying it was the right way for everybody, but in my mind's eye, there was a way to help people better and provide a better service. So I went from that private practice situation to, I think I'm going to start my own thing. Sublet out of a boutique fitness studio. And for about a year, there was proof of concept. People were handing over their credit cards. People were coming back. People were getting better. And so I said, I think I'm going to take the next leap and get my own space. And that was in 2016. I started up Modus RX. So ever since then, it's been a slow journey of growth and learning because very, very evident early on, I had a passion for, you always talk about the intent is pure, the goals are pure. There was no malice to try to trick anybody or scam people out of $300 and give them crap service. There's never that intent. It was just a goal of providing a better service and solve problems what I thought was a better way. But healthcare provider, clinician, thinking about starting a business, there was a lot of skills that I was lacking. I'll just say that. So now we work with athletes and active individuals who want to move confidently and feel young without the use of medications, injections, or surgeries. And we're kind of a sports ortho combination clinic. And I mean, it's going really, really well. We have a lot of core clients, that you will, that they come in and they sometimes you feel like they're just there for the conversation and for the energy and for the relationship that we built. But we still got to grow, right? We're in a mode now where there's proof of concept. We're up to a full schedule. People are happy. People are coming back. But I'm in that trap now of I'm only able to help so many people.
Yeah. Fully booked. And I'm coaching 3 sports. I have 3 beautiful kids and beautiful wife, and I'm coaching 3 sports. And my wife and I are trying to be married still and not just roommates. And there's a lot of things that are getting in the way of time freedom. Yeah. And as you talked about yesterday, kind of removing friction, I think would be the next goal. So not having it be, hey, I want to coach this sport, but I'm going to be out of the clinic for 2 or 3 hours that day. I can't do that. I'm going to go on this trip. Well, if I leave, it's a week worth of revenue gone. And again, back to the intent, it genuinely is helping more people. Yeah. We have a model which is working and people are liking it, but I can only help so many people. I think you're at a wonderful inflection point when anybody gets to the point where the service that they're offering is in demand and it's obvious and clear that it is for you, that you're fully booked. I think, and this is for anybody listening, in the early phase, if you're still struggling 3 or 4 years on and you can't get your first 10 or 12 clients, there's a problem with service, or there's a problem with energy, or there's a problem with just how good of a clinician you are. You've got to fix those things first. But when you get to your level where you're fully booked, I think it's clear that the marketplace in Wisconsin likes what you do. They like your style of physio, they like your energy, they like your passion for what you do. Mm-hmm. And now is the time to take stock of that and the confidence to grow and to scale and to hire and to invest in marketing. Yeah. And that's what I often see is people are a little hesitant to scale. And if you can kind of really understand that, there's no question now that people like what you do. It's beyond any reasonable doubt that you're a fully booked clinician. your next step isn't more classes or courses, con eds, things like that. It's how do we scale this? How do we get it into the hands of more people?
Absolutely.
Which is marketing, really. So you've done well. I think it's fantastic. Before we get into it, where does the name come from, Motus? Tell me.
So I wanted to do movement RX because RX is Latin for a prescription or a recipe. And when I looked up movement RX, somebody in California already had the website. So then I said, well, it's Latin for movement and it's Motus.
Okay,
So Motus
cool.
RX is a recipe for movement.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go deep. I'm going to ask you a few questions. We're going to get into, like I said, a new format for the,
Love it.
or certainly a new direction for the podcast, about pressure, about growth, about responsibility, and all of the things that our families, potentially our friends, definitely, and people from the outside just don't realize what business owners are living with. So my first question, what responsibility do people underestimate when they look at you and your life from the outside?
Well, I think it's the idea of everything is in your control, which is a blessing and a curse. So the responsibility of every day waking up, realizing that I'm the one that's going to do this, and if I do well, it's on me, and equally if I don't do well, it's on me. And so the weight of, I think, responsibility that comes with that is very notable. I think the other thing is just you're always on. I don't think people talk a lot about if you were to think about like a financial advising firm, or my wife's not gonna like me using this because I'm not knocking financial advisors, but if you were to think about their day, right, a solid busy day, and other industries is 2 or 3 meetings potentially, right? And those meetings might be with staff, they might be with potential customers, but as a physio, especially when you're trying to develop and provide a higher level of service, you're on all day, right? And that is 10, 12 appointments in a clinic like mine potentially. And then if you're trying to grow, you have to have people that now you're leading and you're on for. And then you come home and the kids are coming to the door and they don't care about how your day went. Got to be on for them, right? And the wife, the relationship. It's not just, hey, now I got through the day, now we can just cool it, right? So I think the weight of a physical therapy business owner is that you always have to be on. You always have to be on point, and it's easy in the early days because there's excitement, there's a newness about it, there's a novelty. But when you get 8, 9, 10 years in, like I have now, you start to feel a little bit of that grind, or that kind of just like a slow, I don't know how much longer I can sustain this, right? So the responsibility, I think, of always needing to be on, because I don't get to go hide in an office somewhere. I don't get to, people are, when people hand over their credit cards, they're wanting that service, they're wanting that personality, they're wanting that energy.
What's taking up the most space in your head right now?
I think the question about it's not a self-belief issue at this point, which is a turning point for me. I think is that it's the CEO group and joining that and taking some of these next steps. It's the will it actually happen for me? The question, it's I feel like I get some momentum, and then you get knocked back by a bad hire, or you get knocked back by health issues with your family, or whatever it might be. So it's the concern and that pull of, I'm motivated to do this, I want to do this, I have self-belief, but am I actually going to see that come to reality? Is something going to get in my way? Am I going to get knocked back? Am I going to be able to handle that? Am I going to have the resilience to handle that? I think that's the struggle that I'm dealing with now, but I'm also at that point where there's no other option, because I'm not going to just keep doing this the way that I am. Right? I don't have the ability to treat full time and still coach and still have a solid, healthy relationship with my wife. So something's got to change. Yeah. Right. So it's that I don't really want to make it dramatic and call it this tipping point, but in your brain as an owner, you start to say, is this really when I set out for this thing, is this really what I set out for? Early on, and you've talked about this, sequential. Yeah. Right? That was me to a T. So once I figured out I want to do PT school, graduate PT school. Okay, now I gotta pass my boards. Okay, I passed my boards. Now I gotta get a job. I don't care what job. Nobody thinks about who they want to work with or what they actually want this thing to look like for the next 30 years. I just want to get that first job. And then it's okay, well, I realized that I love helping people, but I don't necessarily love the model that's out there, and I think I can do this better, so I started a business. Well, now I start a business that's full.
Yeah.
Now I'm at that point where what do I do next, right? So it's the sequential nature has got to change a little bit, right? Because things don't happen that way, and at this point in my business, things are going to have to happen simultaneously.
Yeah. So taking 6 plates, if you like, and spinning them all at once, and I think that's your next step. Once you hit that mark where you're fully booked, as I said to you yesterday, every dime that you make over and above $300,000 will be attributed to your ability to manage people and manage complexity and risk at this point now. So you mentioned the CEO session. So obviously we've just had 2 days together. You were in a room with some big 7-figure businesses, $2 million plus, which requires that owner to manage 20 plus staff. What did you take from 2 days of being around that type of business owner?
Decision making.
Go on, tell me.
The ability to recognize patterns a lot earlier and make decisions, right? And I would say in a healthy way, there's a much less of an attachment for those owners. It's obvious that it's not that they don't care about people, it's not that they're reckless, but the time to decision happens a lot sooner because there's not an attachment, and they've seen what happens in the past if they don't make that decision. And so for somebody like me, hiring can be a 9-month deal. For somebody like them, it can be 2 weeks. Is what I gathered from that.
Interesting. Do you think it was always like that, or do you think that those business owners have evolved, that they've kind of got to that point where now they can recognize quickly?
I think they've evolved. I think it's the physio that is in physio for 10 years, 20 years, and they recognize patterns.
Yes.
That's why, personally, I think the biggest value that I have for people is I recognize patterns, and the diagnosis happens very quickly and efficiently, and we get rapid results because of that.
Yeah.
If I'm a 10-year, 20-year business owner, I recognize those patterns, and I either keep repeating them and taking the pain from some of those bad patterns, or I make a change and I course correct appropriately, which is, I think, what a lot of people in this group have done.
I think what you find at the beginning, the problem for healthcare practitioners running businesses is, in the beginning, you see the best in people, and you want the best for people, and you have a natural affinity towards caring for somebody. That's the job. That's what we do.
For sure.
And I think that's wonderful when it comes to patients, but when it comes to staff and growing a business, it probably is a trait that doesn't help, in that we see the best in people for too long. I think there's a fine line, and you have to find it yourself, which is this person deserves a chance and an opportunity versus this person is absolutely wrong for the business culturally, from a values standpoint, from what they're kind of, what they want from their role versus what you need from the role. And I think as a business owner, you've got to try and very quickly evaluate that and be okay with being disliked and being okay with moving somebody on, which is the absolute polar opposite to how you probably then go back into the treatment room and manage your team. But you're right, it happens over a period of time where you probably just not have had your heart broken enough yet to realize that this is the world that you're entering into. It's very unpredictable, but equally it's very predictable in an irrational way as to how people how they behave. So I think that's probably your next step as you enter that kind of $300,000 to $1 million phase is going to be people, and being very comfortable with risk and the unpredictableness that they bring. Yeah,
and I think the Jens, the Todds, the Kens even already, they don't, their feelings about the situation, they get past that very quickly. I can tell. It's not a how they feel about the result or the decision it doesn't matter anymore. They just know it's the correct thing for them to do.
If you go back to teenage years, right, and you know the first girl that you meet or whatever, right, the first girl that you meet, she breaks your heart. Second girl breaks your heart. The third one, all right, whatever, right. I'm kind of getting used to this. The fourth, you're kind of, you know, if you don't work out by the fourth and fifth relationship that you get into, you're a bit more immune to the sting and to the pain that comes with it.
Yeah. I've been with the same girl since high school, so
that might be the problem, Eric. We may have unearthed the problem. You just literally have not had your heart broken yet. So I hope that relationship sustains itself. But I think we need to maybe just accept a little bit of heartbreak from people.
For sure.
Next question. What part of your role do you feel most alone in?
I would say leadership of people. I think I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and our family is quite spread out in age. So I've never really. I think when you deal with people, you have to be, again, in the best way possible. You have to be okay with ruffling some feathers, right? And I never wanted to do that growing up. I come from an amazing family and amazing parents, and I'm blessed and fortunate, really. But that's that whole idea of sometimes that resilience is early on. You develop that early on, and not that I haven't gone through some tough stuff and gotten through it and gotten over the other side, but just I never had to ruffle many feathers growing up, and I recognize that, and I'm consciously aware of that. So I think it's the leadership of people.
Have you got brothers, sisters?
Yeah, older.
You're the oldest.
I'm the youngest.
Youngest.
That's
interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I think it's the leadership of people, right? Nobody, your staff or your customers, they don't care that. You genuinely care about this other person, and you have to make a decision that's going to affect their life. Yeah. They would probably not really go home and think about that, right? And your staff won't go home and think about that. They'll just think about, okay, did I please my boss today, and did I make a decent job, wage doing it? But I think if you genuinely care about people and you want to make an impact, there's a constant struggle with, I need to do what's right for the business, but I don't want to hurt somebody, right? And you talked a little bit about that with the emotional attachment side of things, and that's definitely something that I'm working on, and I think is very helpful when you're aware of it, right? If you're not aware of that, and what you talked about yesterday with the emotional attachment to people, to your staff, to family, that is, if you're not consciously aware of that, it's never changing. So the first step for me, I think, has been that I've been able to diagnose that and see what happens when I'm not consciously aware of that.
Where do you feel the pressure the most? Is it emotionally, physically, or mentally?
I would say mentally. Yeah, I'd say mentally. Emotionally, very even keel. Again, great family. Love what I'm working on. Love the progress. Physically, I could sleep more. Yep. If you can't tell, I don't know if there's AI that can remove these bags out from under my eyes or anything like that, but I could sleep more. But it's the mental. It's the I have this goal, and there's that gap to the goal, right? And that is it worth the effort, the heartbreak like you're talking about, to get to that goal? And I fully believe that it is, but that's the mental struggle every day.
I remember when I at one point probably had 100-person a week caseload, no exaggeration. I was seeing 20-25 patients a day, driving between at least 2 clinics, which might have been 30 minutes away from each other. So most days I would be in Hartlepool, which was my hometown, but then the afternoon I'd drive to somewhere like Gisborough, right, which would be a 30-minute drive, and then back home to Hartlepool. So I was probably on the road 8 till 8 most days. My lifestyle was that for many years. Yep. And I remember that I was physically tired at this point when it was just me. I had one part-time receptionist. When it was just me, I was physically tired, but mentally I could stay awake till Natalie would come round at 8 o'clock and we'd spend time together, and it would be maybe midnight before I went to bed. Yeah. Mentally, I wasn't that drained. But the minute I moved from being a full-time physio to growing a business and managing staff, I saw less patients at this point. And I remember I would get home and it would be 8 or 9 o'clock and I would be mentally exhausted.
Gotcha.
And I'd be asleep. I could not keep, like these days, I couldn't keep my eyes open past 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And yet I'm doing physically less work. The mental side of it was the chess-like or the chess-like kind of maneuvers, if you like, inside of the business, worrying about this staff member, that staff member, cash flow, payroll, did marketing work, when's the next workshop. I found that my brain mentally was much on a lot more, to the point where I couldn't keep my eyes open past 9 or 10 o'clock.
Gotcha.
But the physical aspect of it wasn't anywhere near as hard. So for me, it was a lot more mentally draining and definitely emotionally draining, to the point where I think I was 31 or 32. I was diagnosed with a benign ectopic heartbeat, and it was all anxiety related because of the pressure and the pushing of wanting to grow a business. That I was very early to running a business, and sort of I was a professional physio but an amateur business owner, if you like, and I felt it both emotionally and mentally more than I ever did physically.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%.
We're going to move on to talk about what the cost has been so far in business for you, not financially. With 8 years of building a business, what's suffered while you've been focused on building?
Well, the first and obvious one is, I think, the you just mentioned physical health. I mean, it's easy to put things on the back burner in the name of the business and in the name of others, and you end up eating last a little bit, right? So the workouts, the focus on sleep, like I mentioned before, that's something that's gone from the equation a little bit too much in the last 10 years. I think the other thing is that for me, it's the idea of kind of that prototypical, I'm supposed to be this provider for my family, right? And my wife does amazing, and she's amazing with balancing her work and the home life and all that. But you still have that kind of sense of, well, I want to be able to provide for my family. And so when you're sacrificing to grow the business, and you're not, as we heard yesterday, you're not, I mean, you could make more being a staff physical therapist, but you're not going towards what you believe in, and you're not going towards your goals. So I would say, there's been a little bit of that financial sacrifice, because it'd be very easy to just clock in at 9, clock out at 5, make a decent, consistent wage, be working for somebody else and working in the system or something like that. But it's kind of that financial, sacrifice of, okay, I wanted to be here by now, but I'm not quite there yet. And when are we going to see that return on this investment, right? When are we going to see that? But I'm still excited about the growth, right? And it's interesting. You get to a point. I know a lot. I've learned a lot about business. Now it's about execution, right? And personal responsibility, and accountability, and again, that's why I joined the CEO group. As I've been listening to you, I understand a lot of the principles. Now it's time to act on them and execute, because it's that like you talked about before. As a physio, as a clinician, it's a very, very different mindset, and you have to change your identity to be a business owner, an entrepreneur. And so joining the CEO group, that's definitely the identity that I'm taking on, and moving more towards that.
At this point, do you feel successful?
Yes.
Good.
I do. Financially, no. Correct. I mean, just being honest. Financially, no. But I success to me is a lot of different things. I think you maybe mentioned it at one point. If I go through a year and I look back and I say 360 days out of 365, would I go to bed and say it was a good day? Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's, a lot of that is because I'm growing towards something, I'm reaching for something, right? I had a little bit of a fog for the last couple of years, because in that treating every day and, trying to do all the things, you hit a little bit of a fog. I hit a little bit of a fog. And so progress stood still. But family life is great. I'm working towards something. I do really enjoy all the people I work with and get to help. And so I hit the pillow at night, and I feel successful.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
I think it's a question that a lot of business owners should ask themselves.
Yep.
And if they're honest, even if it might not be, kind of financially abundant at this point, if you look back, you've been in business for 8 years. You have generated millions of dollars, right? Millions of dollars
Yep.
in your business from this
Yep.
thing that you've started
Yep.
from nothing.
Yep.
How many people on earth could claim to be able to do that?
That's true.
Not many.
Yeah.
From nothing,
Yep.
you've created a service that is valuable, that the marketplace is showing you that they like what you do and like what you've created.
Yep.
And as an individual, you stand in a very unique spot that you have raised or generated millions of dollars
Yep.
over that 8-year period. So somebody's found you valuable enough. And in today's marketplace, really all we have is, the ultimate quantifier was somebody willing to pay you for what you did. I think you're probably more successful than you realize.
Sure.
And you stand in a crowd of probably less than 1% of the world that have actually been able to create that. You think of all of the people who start a business who close it within a year, all the people who start a side hustle and it never gets off the ground,
Yep.
people who are trying to sell things on eBay or some kind of business. They're just trying to get something off the ground.
Sure.
And they close it very quickly because they get despondent. Whereas with you, you've generated the people of your town have proven that they like what you do to the point where they're happy. And I think when you really think about things like that as a business owner, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's amazing, and you take that to bed with you at night. And sometimes you've got to give yourself a little pep talk, or you've got to give yourself a little recognition, and just change the way that you see things.
Mm-hmm.
And all that then really stands in the way of that is, have I got the courage next to put that service in the hands of more people? Will I market better? Can I get my message out there to more people? Because the people of my town are telling me that they like it. They've paid me millions of dollars over 8 years
For sure.
to help them, to serve them.
Yep.
And I think, always hope the business owners see that it might be tough in the trenches, and it is, but you've created something that puts you in a league of probably the 1% of the world. And
Yep.
I think that's
Absolutely.
that's amazing that
Yeah, it is.
you've got something when you think of it like that.
Yep.
What have you lost then? You've got this business that you love, and you're really starting to kind of, I think, move through the gears from physio to owner and operator of a real business.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the kids, you've got the home life that you talk about.
Yep.
You've got the Packers.
Yeah.
What has success taken from you? What have you had to give up quietly? What's something that you didn't realize that would just kind of erode from you or be taken from you in pursuit of this business success?
Yeah, there's it goes back to the, we talked about it in CEO. You do come into a business or a healthcare industry, and you don't do it because you don't like people, and you see the good in everybody, right? But that changes with pattern recognition over time. Is that you have people out there that are going to be whatever. They're not going to agree with what you do. They're not going to like that you're asking for cash when, I didn't know PTs can even do that. You're supposed to be charging insurance, and you got staff that is going to leave you bad. Go talk about somebody else after you let them go. They're going to tell somebody else, and you're not sure what they're saying and what the staff is after they've left. You're not sure who they're talking to and what they've said, and oh my gosh, is this gonna? So I think it's the unfortunately it's a little bit of that belief that everybody out there is good, right?
Yep.
And I still have that general belief.
Yep.
But reality would tell us that not everybody is in it to just support you and love on you and dote on you and think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I think it's I don't want to hardening. I don't know if hardening is the right word. A hardening to those realities maybe.
Yep.
But there's definitely a thicker skin that's built, and so you lose a little bit of that belief in people.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you really do. Now, not in a way of I'm never going to hire anybody again or anything like that. It's just next time I recognize that pattern a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to change a little quicker. right? I'm not gonna sit here and wait for 6 months for this person to all of a sudden figure their stuff out.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
100% that I've probably done 100 plus, well, easily 150 maybe staff over the years in different businesses. And I agree wholeheartedly that business is it's like a real life, daily personal development seminar that you're living through, that it forces you to make decisions and be around or in situations that you would never choose in a million years. Things that you don't see coming, things that you never expected, things that you didn't deserve, stuff that happened to you that you're like, gee, why? Like, what, why?
Yep.
Why today? Why now? Of all of the things that are going on in the world, why now would you do that to me?
Yep.
And I agree, and I think that's the hardest part of running a business is ultimately the people side of it, which is, business is people, whether it's your customers or your staff. And I think, certainly reflecting on my journey, I think you go through that hardened phase where you become very despondent and you maybe start to see everybody. It's almost like a policeman. I once told the story of my first girlfriend. Her dad was a policeman, and he wasn't too keen on her having boyfriends, so I was never allowed in the house. It wasn't just me. It was, it could have been anybody.
Yep.
And years later, I think back to those days of that, kind of view he had. He just assumed every boy, every 18-year-old lad was a bad guy, and I think, well, now why wouldn't he? Because his view of the world, all he saw for 12 hours a day was bad lads,
18-year-olds,
was bad 18-year-olds doing things that he didn't like. Yeah. So he had a very negative view of the world and wanted to protect his daughter, which on one breath fantastic, but on another breath you think, well, maybe it wasn't ideal. But I kind of had to soften my view of the first heartbreak of staff members. You've got to be on one breath conscious that it could happen, but equally still find it in you to find the good in people.
Absolutely.
For as long as you can, and always be asking, how could this go right? And how could this be spectacularly good for the company, but equally very conscious of the reality that it could go wrong very, very quickly, and not let it harden you to the point where you almost become that policeman who sees the bad in everybody. Right. Basically, what decision forced you to grow up faster than you expected in business?
My decision. Which one?
Yeah, what decisions? Tell me about a decision that you've had to make that forced you to really grow up. What would that be?
I think it's the first hire.
Yeah.
I think it's the first hire. I always think it's interesting that the night before my first hire was a more sleepless night than the night before I started the business. Right? Because now there's another relationship. Now there's somebody else you're responsible for. Now there's another expense. Because at that time, you don't know these things, but you're just looking at the spreadsheet. It's another expense, right? So I think that the initial decision to hire, and it turned out to be wonderful, but that was probably the decision that I would say has stressed me out the most. And then obviously letting people go. It's never an easy thing, especially the first time doing it. With, again, going back to you care about somebody, you believe in somebody, but it can't be at the default of the business.
What responsibility do you never fully switch off from?
People. It's people. It's if it's the patient on the schedule as I open the computer for the day, it's making sure somebody's taken care of.
Yeah.
Right. It's now it's some staff, making sure they're taken care of. Home, making sure the kids are taken care of. So it's that protector of people, right? It's the making sure everybody is good.
What does it feel like knowing that your judgment and your decisions is tied to other people's quality of life?
Personally, I love it. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think there's one thing that I hope most of us start a business for. It's autonomy.
Yep.
And you don't do that without wanting some control and some say in how things go. And so in order to affect another person's life positively like that is an amazing thing. It's really a gift. It comes with, again, a lot of weight, but being responsible for somebody else's growth, that's an amazing thing.
What are you preparing for now then? What's the next chapter look like? What are you kind of preparing for, thinking about in terms of the business or your life that nobody else sees, that nobody really understands at this point?
Well, I think it's creating freedom for me to do more growth work on the business, right? So I'm at that point where the schedule's full, but I don't have time to grow the business, right? And I'm still treating, recruiting, marketing, and realistically to get freedom to do either business growth or just freedom for choice in my life. It's got to be getting help from people. That's the next step.
What do you think you'll have to let go of for the next chapter to be?
Feeling like I need to do everything and I'm the only one that can do it, right?
It's interesting. Where does that come from?
Being a clinician, I think being a healthcare provider, right? Again, realistically, I started the business because I thought I'm the only one who can do what I do the way that I do. So that's how it's going to be in marketing. That's how it's going to be in finance. That's how it's the furthest thing from the truth, right? You have your one or two really solid skill sets, and that could, this could be business. I certainly have my strengths with copywriting and marketing and some things like that. But you got to get other people, and you got to utilize other people's strengths to take some of that stuff off of you.
Yeah.
And so it might be I would say for me, it's probably not knowing that feeling of I'm going to give something to somebody else and they're going to succeed. It's not that I've had situations where I've given stuff to other people and they've failed, but I also necessarily haven't had it yet where I've given something, I've offloaded something, and it's like it worked, like it's gone well, right? And now, oh my gosh, now I'm freed up I don't have to do that anymore, and somebody else is doing, even if it's 80% of what I'm doing, it's going well. So I think it's back to the what could go right versus what could go wrong type thing, and I don't have a strong other than our office manager is amazing and it took a lot off my plate in terms of the customer service role. So outside of that, it's just okay. I gotta get rid of some of this stuff and see how it goes and go back to that liberator stage.
What would you want somebody who's listening to this right now, who's living with similar pressure, similar growth aspirations, similar responsibilities? What would you want them to hear? Not necessarily as advice, just as truth. Just what's the kind of truth behind the responsibilities that you have to carry at the moment?
That it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's the great. I mean, you get to set up a business to work with who you want. You get to hire the people that you want. Doesn't always go great, but you get to hopefully hang around with people that you want. And I think that if you have the courage, growth feels amazing, right? It's the greatest drug in the world in terms of I did that, right? I sometimes the financial aspect, like you talked about, I don't always see that, but you do see the people that you impact, and you say, I was responsible for that, right? So there's courage, but with the courage and the decisions and the courage to get to the decisions, the results of that is a wonderful, wonderful drug.
Fantastic. Before we close, I want to touch on AI. What's your thoughts on it right now? Where are you at with AI, and how do you think it is going to help or affect the future PT clinic?
I'm trying to figure out how to infuse it into my business as much as possible. And right now that could mean to I see these stages, right? We talk about giving our customers choices. So the Amazonification, if you will, of healthcare. Somebody looks up knee pain, right? They may want to see a provider. It might be a person that wants to work with somebody, or they got a problem big enough that needs to be solved. But I see a world where they're getting, here's my symptoms. Here's what I'm struggling with. Here's how long it's been going on, and boom, they have a thing within 15 seconds to start working on.
Yeah.
Now that might be just checking a box, but that's speed and access to something that the consumer wants. It's just like we get our groceries delivered to our front door now, right? So if I can get something at more speed and it's fairly done well because it's an unbelievable power. I see that from a clinical side being mixed in.
Yeah.
And then, with some of the stuff that you're doing, obviously, if we can get some of the everyday tasks that can probably, in a lot of ways, be done better with the use of AI, it frees up people to really show their superpowers.
Yep.
Right. So, that could be in a customer service situation where, maybe again, the day-to-day tasks are taken off somebody so that they can go back to really driving customer care and customer service and focusing on the person that's right in front of them instead of looking down at their computer or being on a phone.
What about in a small town in Wisconsin? How's that?
Oh, we're not that small.
How's it going to go down?
We're
How many? What's the size of the town?
It's about 100,000.
Okay, so about similar to my town, Hartlepool.
Yeah, about 100,000. It's gonna go well. Yeah, it's there. I mean, we're not North Dakota. We're not.
Is that true? I mean, it's close, isn't it?
We have three professional sports teams.
Okay, what's the
Same weather.
same weather? Yeah.
Same weather.
Okay, so
We have cars though and stuff. Yeah.
You've got an NFL team.
We have an NFL team.
What else have
we
you got?
NBA team.
Yeah.
We got the Milwaukee Brewers at Major League Baseball.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we will go. Maybe I will go.
Oh yeah, we gotta take you to Lambeau.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
What's the best week to come?
September, the first week of the season, week 1 of the NFL season.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still our summer, basically. Yeah.
It'll be like
and you'll be like,
Cool Runnings. So, remember Cool Runnings? When they left Jamaica and arrived in wherever. That'll be like I'll be dressed like them off Cool Runnings. Any flight that takes me past Georgia now, it will be like Coming to America or Cool Runnings. Eddie Murphy. Remember Eddie Murphy? We went to Queens. Yeah.
Didn't you choose to go to like the Antarctic something?
I went to Finland and never again. It was let's just put it as a box I needed to tick for my kids. I love my kids dearly, so I would go to Wisconsin for my kids if they wanted to watch Milwaukee. I would. Yeah.
I was gonna say come watch the Bucks, but we're not gonna have Giannis anymore.
Yeah,
so.
but there would definitely need to be an ulterior motive.
Correct.
To get me past Georgia. Yeah. These days.
No, I think
I'll go south. Mexico. Can we get any clients? I'll go south, but maybe it's not north on a plane these days. Yeah.
I think Appleton is going to do just fine taking on AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to do just fine.
What about your staff?
I think when we represent it as customer service, right, this is freeing up our ability to do customer service. I know my front desk is. I'm not having her do marketing. I'm not having her do a lot, but when it's all said and done, she's got a lot of weight in terms of the operations of the clinic.
Yeah.
And so when you frame it as, look, how does it sound to be freed up 2-3 hours a day to focus on our people?
Yeah.
Absolutely no brainer.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big challenge for business owners. I don't think that the initial hysteria might be from the patients that they think they're going to reject it. And overwhelmingly, like you said, I've been involved now in AI since April last year, implementing it into businesses, and it really isn't a patient problem that the clinic owner has to worry about.
Yep.
It'll be the opinions and kind of hysteria from the staff that you might have to deal with as to what their thoughts are on AI and what their beliefs are around AI, and obviously the threat that it poses for their jobs, which is is natural. So it's nice to hear your thoughts and opinions on that.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to wrap the interview up. You've been absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
What do you think of the new format? Everybody happy? Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, this is cool. Thank you.
We're gonna get more guests coming onto the show, and you are the first of the new Paul Meets format, which is all about growth, pressure, and the responsibility that business owners deal with. And I want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Done.
Appreciate it.
No, you're doing
Appreciate
amazing, and your insights and your answers. We need a question. There'll be another clinic owner sat in your seat within a week or so. What would be the one question? What's the question that you've got for them that we're going to ask them at the start of next week's show?
I think it's what's the one question or one decision that you need to make that you're avoiding?
There we go. Write that one down. So well done. You're doing amazing.
You.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
You. Yep, thank you.
All right, that's it for today's episode of Paul Meets. Check us out. We are on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple. Catch up on any of the podcasts over the last now 9 years. I think we're at nearly 650 episodes. So You've got a lot of catching up to do if you're just joining us, but make sure you like and subscribe to hear future episodes of Paul Meets, where we'll go deep into the pressure, the responsibilities, and the mindsets of very successful business owners. See you soon. Hey, this is Paul Gough. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking for even more, be sure to head over to Amazon and you can find my 7 best-selling books for physical therapists in private practice. Head over to Amazon and find me now.